Welcome everyone. Playoffs Season 2. Game 1. We have Sebastian Cavallo versus Jake Kissel. Joined with me as always is Josh Lau. Good morning, Josh. How are you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. You know, we've starting playoffs today, and I'm quite excited to get this on the road. You know. So we have Chane versus Prism, which historically, Chane has a very healthy matchup versus. But with, with how the league is, we know that they can see a player and they can kind of figure out what they're going to play and kind of tech around that. So
I'd already like to point out that we see the Prism player running.
He's playing Vestige.
Old school style of Prism here.
Yes, he is.
We didn't actually see a Red Herald of Protection already indicates to me that this is one of those very traditional. This is a very, very traditional list.
Yep.
Probably still running a couple of auras. Haze Bending is probably Haze Bending, and the one that probably Genesis. I'd say those two would probably be the two auras that he's running here. But yeah, so the people who haven't seen this particular armor suite from Prism, this is basically the Tome of Divinity mini combo armor pieces here.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you use Halo, put a card into your soul, and then your light cards start pitching for an extra amount due to Vestige, and you try to chain a couple of Tome of Divinities into each other. You get a giant grip of cards, and you just go ham.
It's pretty powerful when you can actually pull it off.
It's pretty powerful here.
Mm-hmm.
But whether or not there will be... So one of the issues with doing that is you're basically committing to trading life with Chane, which is not always the best thing in the world to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see how Jake decides to play this out. But I just wanted to note that with this particular armor suite, we're not looking at the 5,000 auras style.
No, we're just coming in with some Miraging Metamorphs with Go again. That's what we're doing here.
Yep. This is potentially a dangerous card.
Oh yeah.
You know
that's
what?
a dangerous card too.
Yeah, So this is basically, so Fractal Replication is actually a card that I would like to see the Prism player use a little bit more strategically, because it copies all of the effects. So like if you can chain this after an Air Edition or after 2 Air Editions, you actually draw 4, which is like nuts.
Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
So you see,
so I think it's possible that so Chane has taken quite a bit of damage here. So I'm okay, so it looks like he had a popper ready, but he did not. So that's actually a little bit interesting why he didn't choose to pop the second attack there.
I'm not sure as to why either. His banishes have not been great these past 2 turns.
And yeah, the Shadow Puppetry is a pretty important card.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say an advantage for Prism right now.
Oh, for sure.
I also think Seb might be caught off guard slightly here. But we have an Art of War here. Generally a good indicator of whether or not you're going to win or not. Eclipse. So we see that actually Seb was caught off guard here, I would say.
Well, Sebastian's theory is when he sees Prism, he's going to keep in more of his fatigue package. Just for the off chance that they end up doing, that. He says that He thinks he's better off having the full deck in when facing down the Prism before he knows what their game plan is. So I get it, but I don't know. You can kind of already guess because it's already happened to him once, right? Where the person played Prism and just went Herald Beatdown. So I don't know. I don't know why he ended up choosing that route, but I think he's just going by his instincts on how he's going to play at the Pro Tour. So he wants to...
I actually think at the Pro Tour that Herald Aggro is actually going to be, with a few supporting auras, is actually going to be the predominant archetype for Prism. But the thing is that likely leaves enough room for... The thing is that makes your matchup into Starvo really bad. But that's the thing. People don't know the metagame percentages here. If there's more Chane than Starvo, then it would make sense to go for the Herald Aggro, I think.
This game's going by super quick.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we're both at
An
26
like
and 24
being
live.
pitched here.
He's just copying last turn.
You know,
Very good.
Prism got a lot of upgrades in Everfest, and like these 1-for-7s is like...
They're insane.
It's like this plus Wartune Hero. Like the whole point of the downside of Luminaris is that you got to use a yellow pitch, right? But that's not really a downside if your stuff costs 1, right? That's only a downside when your stuff costs 2. So all of these things like Miraging Metamorph, Wartune Herald, like it's just insane value here. And we're basically going to have to see the OP-ness of Husk, you know, jump in front of something big. Soul Reaping here, blocking that. I feel like Seb should have realized by now that the Miraging Metamorph is like a bluff. I would have liked to see him Soul Reap the block them. The first one. He has only seen Arclight Sentinel, right?
Arclight.
So
okay, so he had an extra left over too. Okay.
So I actually think like this Miraging Metaphor. Normally, when you see this is like, okay, you don't want to blow it up, right? That was the thinking back in Indianapolis. But I think now you just really have to look and think logically and look at what they've played.
Yep.
Like if I was Seb, I would have used my popper on the first attack here.
I think he's trying to keep his Husk for next turn. If he takes 5 here, he goes to 14, so he wants to have Husk for his next turn, which I think is kind of crucial for him. Trying to maximize his Husk value to the very last second. And he's got to have something good to banish here.
Yeah, this is actually a very, very important banish here.
Very important banish here. He's got to hit at least 1 card.
And this game is actually going a little bit... Riftbind's fine. This game is actually going a little bit too fast for Chane, I think.
I agree.
I think he wants to slow the game down a little bit.
He needs to have quite a big turn here if he wants to.
Yeah, so ideally, if the Prism doesn't block, you can put the Prism down to like 10, and then the Prism will strike back. Your Husk will block some stuff, and you'll probably drop. If you don't block as Chane, you'll probably drop to like 3 or 4 life, and then from there, if you banish well, you should be able to put the Prism on the back foot here.
Yeah.
So just thinking a couple turns ahead, Seb attacking into Prism with a 10 life deficit, still with the Husk. I would say it's slightly to his advantage, but it's going to come down to these next 2 turns, basically.
So yeah, Captain's Call looks like he shackled Captain's Call played Shackled and then Rift Binded here. So
so something important to note here is that the Prism player does not have an Arsenal card.
that is correct.
So that kind of limits his potential.
Ah, the Razor. I love it.
Reflex
So
here.
he keeps the 1 and he can go for 2 and 2.
Yep. So he's going to knock him down to 8 here. So that turn
Very
cycle
powerful.
that turn cycle that I was talking about is likely to come to fruition here. Dropping down to 8. So here we're going to have to see max value from Husk. So this is all about predicting what your opponent is going to do here. So if I was Seb and I had a popper, I would pop this. And then Husk the second one. Although this is a pretty clean block as well.
Yeah,
Husk plus Grasp.
And
Yep.
he's got
So he has the popper.
runic.
Yep.
And then
Yep,
he
so
just
now-
blocks that.
And
Yep.
then this one, yep. So good play here.
Good
and now
play
the
by
Prism's gonna.
Sebastian.
So the Prism player is gonna be on the back foot here, and may actually never recover here.
Yep.
And this is a classic thing that we see, is that even decks that have very, very high efficiency rates on their cards, like Prism, just cannot aggro the, like, Husk plus Skullcap plus Grasp plus Spellbound Creepers means he's starting at, so you start with 40 life, the Husk is 46, Skullcap is another 3, Grasp is another 3, Spellbound Creepers is 1. You have to get through 53 health.
Yep.
Right? And look at Prism. Prism has 2. So she starts at
She's at
42.
42. Yeah.
right? So that's 11 health difference. Imagine if Seb was at 3. 3 versus 8 here.
Yeah.
This would be a pretty close game, right? But the fact that Chane has so much armor is like there's no way. There's no way.
For sure. And he's got the blue plus the Howl from Beyond, which is very good for him right now.
Yep.
He needed to have a non-attack to be able to do his turn. So now he's got the Riftbind coming in for, if I'm not mistaken, 7.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go again here.
Yep.
And this is a horrible feeling as Prism.
Yep. Now you got to block.
Because I mean, if you block here, I don't see any way.
If you block here, you kind of just lose. Almost. Like
if. Yeah. All right, so we have an unmovable. Okay, so there's that passing mirage.
Yeah.
One that gets rid of Phantasm. That's another card that you would sometimes see. This looks very similar to a list I saw recently from a YouTuber named Dozer.
Yep.
This looks very similar to his list. So
Sebastian's coming in for another 2 and 2 here, threatening to put his opponent down to 3.
Yep. And that mixed damage here is just so difficult to stop.
Yep.
And without, like, the whole point of having the Halo of Illumination is that you get a combo off with it. So that's something that this is basically the equivalent of dying with Snapdragons still active.
Yep.
Right? So that means you did not use your equipment. That means you either went too fast. That means so the Prism player should have realized, hey, if I don't slow this game down a bit, I'm not gonna get any value out of my Halo. All the Tome of Divinities in my deck are gonna be dead cards.
It's almost like he didn't value the 5th card, like having a 5-card hand and at least one more turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
like, equipment usage at the highest level of play, like, is extremely, extremely important. And a blue pummel, yes, this is Dozer's list.
Yeah. So it looks like he just
I watched a
pushed that.
video like earlier today about it.
Okay, so he's gonna then do the spectral, so then he can pay for the other. If I'm not, or no, he's just not gonna take the physical. Okay, makes sense.
So he gained a life there. He went from 4 to 5.
I think what happened was he took the arcane, and then he pitched to Phantasmal, and instant speed brought out. I don't know.
I wasn't
exactly
paying
sure what
complete
happened
attention
there.
there. I was.
It kind of
in my
happened
opinion,
quickly.
in my opinion, this game is already over. But the we will see, I guess. So one way the Prism player could get back in the game is if he put a Tome of Divinity into his arsenal, because you could activate the Halo, and then you could do that Tome of Divinity shenanigans on your opponent's turn to get more cards to block.
Oh, How From Beyond Shadow Puppetry on Hallowed Rites. If he has a non-attack here, yeah.
So this is 4 cards that he could play in the banished zone, and still has Spellbound Creepers here. This is going to be pretty challenging, I think, for Prism to block here.
If he's got a non-attack in his hand, yes.
so one, we saw that he was playing Arc-like Sentinel.
Yes.
So that could be a saving grace here. A good Arc-Light here is basically going to hurt Chane for 4 or 5 here, actually. So, or I guess it would probably be for 4.
I think Sebastian would probably come out with something out of this banish just to kill the Arc-Light, but yeah. You're pretty much hoping that he's got all yellows in his hand too.
Yeah, so that's one way he can come back is with Arc-Light Sentinel or Halo into Tome into Arc-Light Sentinel, or Halo into Tome into have a lot of cards to block.
Yep.
But
you're still on the back foot there.
Yeah, Prism is still on the back foot here, but this is not actually out of the realm of possibility here. It is still possible for Prism to win this, actually. We might have called this a little too early. So Seb, thinking about his line here.
He's gonna go ahead and activate Chane first. Okay.
Probably asking his opponent any response.
Trying to bait it out, I guess.
No response. Okay. So now
goes to visit
first
for
attack
4.
here. Yep.
And so this is where he creepers in his non-attack.
Yes, this feels like a creepers here. Okay, so
by him doing this, it tells me he doesn't have Arc-Light Sentinel.
Yep. Okay, so he's taking 2 here.
Yep, activating his creepers. Mauvern Skies.
Very good.
Okay, wow. Very good card right now.
AP right now.
Getting 2 action points seems quite good, especially right now. Now he doesn't have to break the chain. And
yeah, the mixed damage here and the break points here are going to be pretty brutal here.
Yep. So Hallowed's getting back the How From Beyond, coming in for 4. And then also Mauvern Skies is yeah. Mauvern Skies definitely forces him
there
to
goes
block.
the Vestige. The Vestige actually has done nothing this whole game.
And he has East Strike.
East Strike drawn. Maybe go again.
Well, no, the Unhollowed had to go again. So yeah, he's gonna draw a card here. He's got 1 action point left, so he's coming in for 5 draw a card, and he's gonna attack with his sword afterwards. Right, because the Mauvern gave the Unhallowed go again. Yep. Yep. Okay, so he guarantees.
And he's out of pitch, right?
Yeah, he guarantees his energy here. He's gonna have to full block it, and he can't do that.
So he's gonna take 2 here, drop the 1.
So I'm saying then he just Rosetta's for game.
Yep.
Good match out of Sebastian here. Well, okay. Well, he's doing that.
No, he's not. He's
spell voiding. Oh. He's spell voided. Okay, so he's again right on the back foot, and all Sebastian has to do now is present a
still not out of this.
Nope, not at all. He's got to present a Rosetta Thorn next to him.
I would have no, actually okay, never mind. There's nothing I would have changed there. But the I mean, it's still possible for.
He takes 3 here, so he's going to be at 5. Unless he already took it. I'm not really sure. I didn't look.
It's still possible for Prism to win this.
Yep.
Sebastian should pause on the 6th card here.
Yep.
Is that
all whiffs?
Which is actually not necessarily bad.
Not awful.
That's actually not necessarily bad because
in case he does have the arc light, right? Like.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was saying like he should pause on the 6th shackle because that is actually when Prism sometimes likes to respond.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing because there were no hits there, that'd be like a really bad time to arc light stencil. So
Captain's call. This is where
Captain's
you would arc
call.
light sentinel, in my opinion. He's trying to bait it out. So he shackles. Yep. Looks like he's just going to present.
To some people, this ordering may look kind of weird.
Yep.
But this is basically designed to keep the combat chain together to minimize the multiple blocks from the footsteps.
Yep. So looks to me, since he's shackled, he chose the plus. So he's going to get +2, +1. So he's coming in for 6 go again, and he pitched a Tome of Divinity with 1 floating. So he Art of Wars for game. Gives it +1.
And no soul to make a spectral shield.
Good play out of Sebastian to hold the Art of War for that specifically.
Yep.
Knowing that he's gonna have to block it.
Yep.
So we're up 1-0 in the playoffs. Division 1.
This is a relegation match actually.
Yeah.
So this is a win or go down to Division 2. So yeah.
Good game out of Sebastian. We'll get him in here. We'll talk to him for a second. And I guess go through his game. Get him in here and talk to him a little bit. So since we're recording this, so we've knocked Prism out of the way. What other decks are you kind of expecting for the next 4 matches? You obviously Starvo, obviously a Chane deck. But what other decks do you think we could see?
An OG Bravo deck.
An OG Bravo deck? What about Oldham?
Yep. As for my opponent, I think he's probably playing Guardian. But which Guardian, I don't know. Oldham is definitely is a possibility. But Briar, Lexi, I mean, they're basically going to try to bring out the big guns. So I don't think we're going to see too much experimentation.
Looks like they're talking about the Carrion Husk play right now.
And that was perfect usage of the Carrion Husk.
Yep.
You pop the first attack. You know that there's another attack coming. And then you can...
I always love watching Sebastian play Chane. There's just so many things that you can, in your mind, you're like, okay, this can happen, and then he pulls out something that you didn't even think about at all, and you're like, wow, okay. So, always love to get to see.
The deck has a very high skill ceiling, and it's one of those things that, it's one of those heroes where the lines that you take can be very complicated, so experience on the hero matters a lot.
Looks like they just ended the there he is.
Hi.
Great game out of you. Way to use your Carrion Husk to its absolute potential. Talk us through that game. Well, first off, one thing that Josh brought up at the beginning of the match is, you pitched an Eclipse early, meaning you kept your entire deck in for the most part.
Yeah, it was.
That's just your
yeah,
mindset going into that game, right?
Yeah, it's because you don't see. Actually, just the whole. We can have a whole discussion on Chane, where it's like the worst part about Chane right now is everyone has a good game plan going into you, but you don't have any idea what their game plan is when you're sideboarding. So you kind of just have to, if they can fatigue you, put in the fatigue package. So that's just how it's always been. And
Okay.
You have a couple like bad hits like Seeping Shadows and multiple Howl from Beyonds that make your hands a little bit weird, but it's just something you got to do.
Fair enough. Any questions you have for him, Josh?
Were you caught off guard by the fact that that was a Herald aggro Prism?
No, because it's the league and they all know I play Chane. So and that I think that's expected for the Pro Tour meta anyway. But I'm like, I'm playing Chane most likely, and I played this guy before and he played Prism, so I'm like, most likely he's gonna do aggro into me, which I'm like, that's okay, 100%.
Your deck has like 6 poppers, 7 poppers, right?
Yeah, has Command and Conquer, 2 Runic, and 1 Soul Reaping, so 6.
So 6.
I did see a good amount of them. I saw 3.
Yeah. Yep.
They were timely too.
You definitely had a very clutch one on the second one. That's for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
The only slight thing that I could see that maybe you could improve on was the Miraging Metamorphs were that was basically a bluff from him. Like after a couple of turns, I was like, he doesn't have he's not flashing in an aura here and making a copy of it. You can just pop it.
Yeah.
So normally in the Indianapolis metagame, you never pop a Miraging Metamorph because bad things could happen. But I think based on how his deck was configured, and at certain points, it was actually impossible for him to have the pitch to flash in an aura. So I would have liked to see the pop on the Miraging Metamorph, but that's a very minor thing. I think that's just something you could go back and look at and see, like, because I think it was just a bluff.
Miraging Metamorph instead of the Wartune Herald on that first one. Basically, that's what you're saying. Get the extra 2 life out of that trade.
Yep. Because I think there was some situations where it was like literally impossible for him to flash an aura in. So
okay.
Plus, his deck configuration made it very unlikely that.
Yeah, he's playing a lot of reds in that version. So,
but it turns out having 53 life versus 42 life, pretty good. It's pretty good. So, we're up 1-0 now. We'll see how the rest of the matches go.
Absolutely love it. GG's Sebastian putting us up 1-0. One step closer of not getting relegated to Division 2.
Don't screw it up now.
Don't screw it up now. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Appreciate you guys chilling with us this entire time while we were, watching over Sebastian's match. If you guys don't mind, check out all of our affiliate links in the description below. We also have a Patreon we are cranking out content for, so be sure to check that out too. We appreciate you guys chilling with us, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Next time.
Do man.